My name is Stephanie. I'm sitting on the porch of the cabin my grandfather left me, surrounded by the silence of the 42 acres of land. The air is filled with the scent of pine, and the memories of the past year flood back. It all started when the court formally reinstated the original sealed will. I walked out of the probate court, calm and composed. My family, who had once been so vocal, were now silent. My mother sat in the gallery, her hands white, knuckled around her pearls. My brother avoided my gaze, and my cousin Mitchell was in tears before the judge even entered the room. But it wasn't always like this. I grew up in a well-to-do family. My parents, Richard and Victoria, were always busy with their social circles. My father was a cold and calculating man, more interested in business deals than his family. My mother was a social climber, always putting on a fake smile for the public. My grandfather, Arthur, was the light of my life. He raised me when my parents were too busy. He taught me the value of hard work, honesty, and kindness. He was a man of integrity, and I trusted him completely. When he passed away, I thought my family would support me. But at the reading of the will, everything changed. I showed up in a simple black dress, while my cousin Ethan was laughing in the corner, his girlfriend whispering about how they could buy a beach house. My Aunt Clara had a bottle of champagne in her bag, and my brother Ryan, who had barely spoken to Grandpa, looked smug. The lawyer, a new face, handed out sealed envelopes. When I opened mine, it was blank. I asked the lawyer what was going on, and she said that my grandfather had revised the will shortly before his death, and my portion had been rescinded. My mother then turned to me with a sickly, sweet voice, saying that maybe Grandpa thought I didn't need it. I walked out of the room, my hands shaking. That night, I sat in my car, staring at the dashboard until morning. There were no messages, no apologies, just silence. In the following days, I tried to find out what had happened. I called the lawyer listed on the envelope, but the number was disconnected. When I checked public records, I found that Grandpa's long-time lawyer had retired suddenly, and the will had been filed by a stranger. I was told that the original document was sealed, and I wasn't a listed beneficiary. Meanwhile, Ethan was posting pictures of his new luxury car on social media, and Ryan was showing off his expensive watch. My mother sent me a text telling me to let it go. I was working long hours and struggling to make ends meet, but they expected me to accept this injustice. Then one rainy Monday, there was a knock on my door. A man in a charcoal gray suit stood there, holding a leather briefcase. He introduced himself as Mr. Thompson, the court-appointed executor of Arthur's sealed will. He showed me two documents. One was the fake will that my family had read, and the other was the real, court-registered will, signed, witnessed, and sealed 6 weeks before my grandfather's death. He explained that someone had filed a forged version with a falsified signature and notarization. I learned that in the real will, I was left 42% of the estate, including land, stocks, a house, and a family trust account tied to some old patents. The antique business that I thought had been sold off was just a lie in the forged document. Mr. Thompson also showed me evidence of the forgery. The notary stamp on the fake will was from a woman who had died 2 years before the will was supposedly signed. He believed that the forgery was arranged by someone with access to my grandfather's personal records. I didn't need to ask who. I knew it was my family. He told me that he had been denied access to execute the real will because the court was notified that the will had already been executed. But now that the fraud was identified, I was the primary beneficiary again, and he had filed a motion to freeze all the transferred assets. As soon as the court sent out the notice, my phone started buzzing. Ethan left a dozen incoherent voicemails, filled with outrage and panic. Aunt Clara sent a long, rambling text, trying to excuse their actions. My mother came to my porch, holding a thermos and wearing pearls, asking to talk. But I didn't open the door. Mr. Thompson stood behind me and told me not to engage. Over the next few days, things moved quickly. The antique business was placed under court supervision, and the family trust was frozen. I was even granted a protective order against my own relatives. Then Mr. Thompson found a secondary vault in my grandfather's name. Inside were a signed copy of the handwritten will, a sealed letter addressed to me, and a flash drive. The letter from my grandfather said that he knew someone would try to steal his estate, and that's why he left me the key to everything. The flash drive had recordings of my uncle conspiring with a consultant to hide transfers and forge documents. These recordings were submitted to the court, and the probate dispute turned into a criminal case of forgery, fraud, and conspiracy. In the end, justice was served. My family lost everything they had stolen. Ethan lost his house and car, and his online persona of success disappeared. Aunt Clara was removed from non-profit boards, and my uncle's law license was suspended. My mother never apologized. She just sent a bitter text. I didn't seek revenge. I just wanted peace. I stayed on the land my grandfather left me, repaired the cabin, and read his journals. I learned that trust should be earned, and that family is defined by behavior, not blood. I walked away from the people who betrayed me, and I'm stronger for it.